Columbus was born in 1451 in the Republic of Genoa, part of what is now Italy. In his 20s he moved to Lisbon, Portugal, and later resettled in Spain, which remained his home base for the duration of his life. In the early 1480s Columbus sought a sponsor for his own voyage of exploration. He wanted to prove his theory that China and the East Indies could be reached more easily by sailing west across the Atlantic Ocean than by going around Africa to the Indian Ocean. If he succeeded, he would also confirm a long-held European belief that the world was round. Educated Europeans of the 15th century knew the Earth was a sphere, but no one had yet determined its size. Columbus also contended that by taking the Atlantic route, he could make an accurate measurement of the distance between Europe and China. For several years Columbus had failed in his attempts to enlist the King of Portugal in this quest. Columbus decided to try his luck in Spain. He first met with Queen Isabella, 1451–1504, in 1486, but it wasn't until April 1492, that Isabella and her husband, King Ferdinand, 1452–1516, agreed to finance an expedition. As part of the deal, Columbus would be named admiral, become governor of any territory he discovered, and receive a share of any riches he found. He was sailing with 3 ships, Columbus in the larger Santa Maria, with the Pinta and the Niña alongside. By October 10th, however, the crew had turned mutinous because they had not seen land for months. Luckily for Columbus, 2 days later they spotted a small island in the present-day Bahamas. After going ashore Columbus spent several weeks meeting the native peoples and exploring the islands. When Columbus went ashore in the Bahamas, he mistakenly assumed he had reached the East Indies. Columbus therefore gave the name Indians to the Native Americans. Columbus mentioned that the Native Americans, like idiots, traded valuable commodities such as gold and cotton for ordinary European-made items. Keep in mind that although Columbus quickly prohibited unjust trading between his men and the Native Americans, he was not motivated by goodwill toward the Indians. Instead he wanted to cast the Spanish in the best light and encourage friendly relations that would work to Spain's advantage. He was also preparing the way for Roman Catholic missionaries, making it easier for them to convert the native peoples to Christianity. With promises of untold riches, Columbus had no difficulty persuading Ferdinand and Isabella to sponsor a second voyage. This time the monarchs rewarded the admiral with 17 ships and sent along 1,000 colonists to live in the new Spanish settlement. When the expedition reached La Navidad in November 1493, however, they found the settlement in ruins. Unburied Spaniard corpses were scattered everywhere. Either the Native Americans had turned against the Europeans, or the Spaniards had fought among themselves. No one had survived to tell the story. Columbus decided to move 75 miles east, where he started building a settlement called Isabella. Immediately he sent a party of men in search of gold while he explored the nearby islands. When Columbus returned to Isabella in late September 1494, he learned that his men had found very little gold. He also encountered mounting tensions between the Native Americans and the Spaniards. Having been mistreated by the colonists, the Native Americans were organizing an army to try to drive the Europeans off the island. The Spanish took drastic measures, which led to the near extermination of the inhabitants of Hispaniola. During the next 3 years Columbus ruled harshly, imposing heavy taxes on the Native Americans and forcing them into slavery. Native American offenses against the Spanish were often punished with death, using such methods as burning at the stake or beheading. Colonists often attacked or killed native men, women, and children on a whim. Native Americans also died of diseases the Europeans brought with them. Soon shocking reports about conditions on Hispaniola were reaching Spain. No longer confident of Columbus's ability to govern the colony, the monarchs recalled him to Spain in 1496. Within 2 years, however, he had persuaded the king and queen to send him back to Hispaniola. On this third voyage Columbus sailed along the coast of Venezuela, thus becoming the first European to view the continent of South America. When Columbus returned to Spain, he left his brother Bartholomew in charge at Isabella. Columbus was beset by numerous problems. The Spaniards found gold only in small quantities, and there weren't enough native workers. Friction had also continued between the surviving Native Americans and the colonists. Finally, Ferdinand and Isabella sent Francisco de Bobadilla, 1502, to replace Columbus as governor. When de Bobadilla arrived in Santo Domingo in 1500, he found the colony in chaos. The bodies of 7 rebel Spaniards were hanging in the town square, and Columbus's brother Diego was planning to hang 5 others. Columbus himself was trying to put down a rebellion on another part of the island. And Bartholomew was making similar efforts elsewhere. After arresting all 3 men, Bobadilla ordered that they be put in chains and sent back to Spain for trial. Although Columbus subsequently lost all of his titles except admiral, during his years in Hispaniola he had become a wealthy man. Bartolomé de las Casas, 1474–1566, a Spanish missionary, witnessed many horrible abuses of Native Americans on Hispaniola. He reported that Spaniards made bets as to who would slit a man in 2, or cut off his head at 1 blow. They tore the babes from their mother's breast by their feet, and dashed their heads against the rocks. Columbus probably died of severe arthritis following an infection on May 20, 1506, still believing he had discovered a shorter route to Asia. Columbus has been credited for opening up the Americas to European colonization, as well as blamed for the destruction of the native peoples of the islands he explored. Ultimately, he failed to find that what he set out for, a new route to Asia and the riches it promised.